we'll go ahead and take a poll of your questions in the room. As a reminder, if you have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. If you're on the Zoom portion of this, no problem. We ask that you go ahead and hit the raise hand function button, and we'll take things from there. Jose, I saw you first.
Coach, the results obviously not what you wanted, but there was a lot of good things that came on. Once Raul jumped onto the field, it really looked like a different team, and it looked very forward and very attacking. Am I wrong in that assessment, or is that something that you also saw?
I thought Rojo come out and did very well. Sparked the team. The decision to start or not start him was because he had a little bit of a rib injury from the LAFC game. But certainly if he can play through the pain and play as effectively as he did, we could use him.
Go to Jeremiah next.
Yeah, 20-some shots to 2, but the quality of the shots didn't necessarily seem particularly high. What do you make of that, and how do you go about addressing getting into better, more dangerous positions?
Yeah, a lot of the shots were from outside, balls coming out. They had packed defenders off set pieces, rebounds coming out. Jeremiah, I'll have to look at the tape to do a little bit deeper dive into it. Sometimes, knew who had a good game, but some of those crosses from deep in that corner are not very good. It's what's been plaguing us since last year. And I thought there were some good moments, but it's just, we're close, but we're not close enough. We'll keep after it. Leo Chu had a good game, and look, by the way, he's got cramps. There's nothing major there with Chu. If he can be that effective, if Raul can find some form, I think we'll start scoring goals.
Jess.
What did you make of your midfield 3 tonight of Josh, Obed, and Pedro?
It was good. I mean, they're 3 young, talented players. I think Obed, a little bit stronger game. He's a little more physical. Josh obviously ran a ton. It's one of his strengths. And, Pedro, you see the quality that he has.
Miles, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, Brian, just sticking with inside the box play. I know you haven't gone into a deeper dive on it, but are you seeing the runs you need to see going inside the box to move defenders? And is there interlinked play from the back, the mid block to the front block that you need to see?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll start with some set pieces. So the one set piece that, Andy works on out to Alex Jackson, that inside the box header over a smaller opponent, maybe he got to put that away. I thought you saw, on the left-hand side, the ball came across. We had numbers in the box. Alex rolled in once or twice, had the ball on his right foot. So, I think there is some positives to take out of it, but guys have to make plays. Do they shoot? Do they take a touch? Do they take a touch to move a defender, and then when he tries to block it, cut it back in between his legs, and some of those little subtle things that they need inside the penalty box? That's just what we're lacking.
Nico.
Coach, 2 quick ones. One is Peder Vegas, he all right? Seemed to be pulled off because of an injury. And then number 2, what were your thoughts on him playing more centrally rather than what we saw briefly in his first debut?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. The injury or the severity of the tweak or whatever they want to call it now, we'll get an MRI and I'll give you more information on that on Tuesday. I don't think it's a bad one. It's not the one that he was coming back from. It's the other one, so we'll have to take a look at that. But his play, I think the kid can play over here, in the middle, and on the left. I think he just needs to get used to the league, the physicality. I think he needs to get used to his teammates a little more. Remember, it's not much time on the field in actual games. Certainly there's training, but he's got to get a couple games under his belt before I think we really assess him. I think that's fair to him.
We'll come around to this side of the room. We'll go to Owen next. And a reminder, if you're on Zoom, go ahead and hit that raise hand function button for us. if you'd like to ask a question. Owen, go ahead.
Coach, could you talk just a little bit about the pressing setup you had in the first half? It seemed like you guys rushed them a lot, and then once Pedro and Leo came off?
Once Pedro and Leo came off, what?
It seemed like it was maybe a little bit slower with Musovski and Raul on.
Well, again, that was late in the game, and I don't think you could judge Musovski and Raul for their lack of pressure there. I think the whole team was pressing in those moments late in the game. Early on, if you want to talk about the beginning part of the game, we're at home. We wanted to set the tempo. We wanted to press higher up the field. That's always what we try and do. Was it effective at times? Yeah. But again, when we win possession of the ball in those moments when their opponent is spread out and they're trying to possess the ball, did we do enough in those transition moments? You know, that's where we got to get back to being more clinical.
Just pass the mic down here if you like to Nico Antun.
In the second half, Raul appeared to be visually frustrated with some of the passing decisions from the wing. Do you feel like there's a bit of a disconnect from wing to striker in this 4-2-3-1 formation?
No. If you're talking about some of his frustrations of not getting the ball, that's happens to a lot of players in a lot of different leagues and a lot of different, situations. Raul wants the ball because he was motivated when he came on the field to help his team win. So, some of that body language goes on. I mean, players, if they don't get the ball, their head goes down or, stuff like that. But there's no frustration within the group. They're pretty solid.
Anybody else on the? Yeah, we'll just pass it right here.
Coach, what are your thoughts on Atencio's play tonight, especially connecting with Pedro and Chu? And I noticed he seemed to come up towards Chu's position a couple times near the end of the game after Chu came off. Was that something you had planned on in that event, or?
No. Again, the end of the game is a little bit hectic, I would say. And Josh was just doing whatever he could to try and win the game. Josh is a super talented kid. He's got a bright future, but some of the things he needs to work on are his, just his game awareness. Where we put him in the field might actually not be his best position as a double pivot. I mean, he's got so much range and his ability to run by people. So we'll look at that for the future when JP comes back, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, we'll bring it to this side. I know there's a couple follow-ups. Jose, we'll go to you, and then Jessica as well.
Brian, bringing out some positives. So today you had Andrew Thomas make his first home MLS start. Obviously, he didn't get tested a lot, but there has to be a lot of pride in keeping that clean sheet at home on his first start. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you guys felt on the bench for him?
Well, he didn't have much to do, but the things that he did do were good. There was the one time where he, waited a little too long. He had to kick the ball out of bounds. I think that comes with a little bit more game experience. But Andrew is a super talented goalkeeper, and he's enjoying himself right now. He's all smiles in there because we made a point out of it. Somebody in the back, way back there, reminded me of that stat. And getting a clean sheet at home certainly is one of the positives of tonight.
Jess.
Kind of want to go back to my question about the midfield three. Can you talk about some ways they stepped up tonight with the absence of JP and Albert?
Well, they're all okay. So comparing them, it's a little tough sometimes because Obed, Josh, they're different than JP and Albert, who we've had there in that formation. Pedro for Albert, they're just different players. I think the games will, kind of dictate what you see. But if you're asking me if Obed and Josh did their jobs, absolutely. Did Pedro come on and, do the things that he's capable of? Yes, in certain moments, for sure. And, when Albert and JP come back, they're going to certainly add their stamp and their style to games as well.
Would you say the three of them worked well together tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Miles, we'll take a follow-up here from you.
More of a balance question. It looked like, and I might have it weird, but it looked like in the first half you were right-sided, and then the second half, starting the second half, you switched I got them backwards. You went left, and then because you came to the side of Alex and Christian to start the second half. Was that intentional, or was just more of a?
I think that's just ebbs and flows. Again, I thought Chu had a good game tonight. Thought he was effective on the left. Maybe we didn't find him early enough in the first half, but a couple of Alex's chances in front of goal came from the left side over here. So I think it was fairly balanced. Again, Maz, I'll look at the tape and see if there was any trends there, but I thought the team was fairly balanced.
Yeah, I guess my point was that's got to be a positive for you that you can go.
Yeah, we're talking about way too many positives here, though. We need to score.
Fair enough.
Nico, we'll go to you next.
Coach, just wanted to get your take about what you've seen from Jordan up as a striker in the game one and now in this one. In terms of getting on the ball, he tends to gravitate outside a little bit, but just your take on what he's done positionally there.
Well, he puts teams under pressure. Such a good athlete, fast guy. I thought his defensive work was great, but again, all of those things are kind of, being overshadowed now by his not being on the score sheet. So we'll continue to work with him. He's still going to be effective. Let's see about De La Vega's injury. I might look at Raul and Jordan together, and let's see what that looks like. So it's a work in progress, but Jordan puts everything into the game. You can tell he does all the work.
All right, we'll take a couple more to close it out. Jeremiah, over to you, and then Diego.
Yeah, obviously you guys had the pregame and the halftime recognition of Ozzy. I don't know. Did you have any interaction with him today? And does it amp up the disappointment that you weren't able to deliver a win in this kind of situation?
Yeah, look, Ozzy would have loved to have been in the stadium for a win. We would have loved to do it for him. We would have loved to do it for ourselves and for the players that are working hard and training every day and put a lot of effort in the game tonight. I think Ozzy's story is a great one. His individual path to his career, his ability to help us, jumpstart the MLS version of the Sounders. I mean, it's a great story, and he's a tremendous man.
Diego.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
El jugador Pedro de la Vega se sabe que vino con una lesión y se le contrató así. Ya tenía un problema de lesión. ¿Cuán grave es la lesión con la que él llegó y cuál es su situación actual?
Pedro de la Vega was hired while we knew he had an injury, and there is what did we knew about that injury, and what we know about the injury he had today.
Well, his injury history, yes, he took an injury when he was still with the Argentinian Olympic team. He took an injury. He came to us, had another small injury, and so we're working to correct that. He's going to be doing, more of the same treatment to get him back up. We'll try and make sure that he strengthens his hamstring so this doesn't happen again. We don't want to have this a recurring problem. So the medical staff, I have full confidence that they will be able to identify and fix the issues. And it's just unfortunate that, sometimes in sport injuries happen.
Pedro tuvo una lesión cuando estuvo jugando por el equipo de Argentina juvenil, y cuando llegó acá tuvo otra lesión menor, pero se han tratado y está recuperado. Seguimos tratándolo de manera constante para fortalecer sus músculos posteriores, y ese es un trabajo que se viene haciendo de manera consistente. Es una pena lo que ha pasado hoy día, pero que todavía no tenemos una certeza de exactamente qué es lo que es.
Okay. Jeremiah, do you have one final one?
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead. Mike's over your, yeah, there you go.
The effort obviously is there. Is there a tactical shift that you think that you might be able to put in, or that you feel like might need to happen in order to kind of get the offense going?
we worked on a lot of that stuff in preseason, tactical tweaks to what we started last year. We're going to keep at it. I think it's too early. It's 2 games. This game certainly was a better game than LAFC. LAFC, Jordan scores early. Maybe it's a different outcome. I mean, there's certain things that we're okay with. When do we put a tactical change in? Personnel is going to dictate, whether there's little tweaks there if Raul and Jordan start up top. So we'll look at it for sure.
Thanks all. Locker room's open.